Oh, we got a game. Here, let's see. Adjusting the sound there. So e4, e5. Oh, I meant to play a King's Gambit. So let's see. We got one. Oh, he just defends. I wonder what you do about that. Probably here. Just defending the pawn. So if he takes now, you take back with the bishop. This should be good. This open F file, you can castle quickly.
Check.
And then, well, I said it should be good. Is this possible? I can just play the pawn here since he didn't take on f4. Pawn to g3 is fine. I can still take back on f4 with the bishop. Well, he's making things annoying for me. Okay, let's close it off. Maybe that bishop won't find any place to go. After knight g8, for example. Well, the bishop can go, after knight g8, the bishop can go to... this is a funny move. Threatening knight g8, trapping the bishop. If I didn't do that, the bishop could just go to knight g1. The bishop could just go to g2, hitting the rook, and big trouble would ensue. Okay, so he just trades off that bishop, which is fine. What's the best way to trade it? I don't want to move the knight again. Let's just develop a piece here. See what he does. That bishop doesn't seem to have much to do there. I could go here. I could play bishop to g4, but then he might take my knight. Let's kick the bishop. That's what I should do to sort of force things. And then I don't have to worry about all this stuff. So I've got a lot of space on the king side. Let's put a rook to the f file maybe. Okay, yeah, he's going to break in the center. Yeah, that makes sense. If he takes, I'll take back. If he pushes, I'll have a very solid center. Just have to make sure I have a square for my knight. If I take, it leaves this f-pawn kind of weak, so I'm not going to take right away. Yeah, so he pushes. So I'll bring the knight around this way. Yeah, I've got a lot of space on the king side, but he could just castle to the queen side, so maybe it's not doing me so much good. Pawn to g4, g5, trapping his bishop. He can stop it with h6. But at least pawn to g4 opens up g3 for the knight. A funny kind of position here. Okay, he cleared a square for his bishop, so I can play g5. But I think I'd rather develop the knight. Keep these pawns here. Knight to h5 hits the bishop and the pawn on g7. And it looks like he's not castling anytime soon. He brings his dark squared bishop back to that square. Maybe he wants to trade again. I'm not sure. Bishop to yeah, I would like to play bishop to g4, but he's got that g5. He's got that well covered between his queen and his bishop. And can't play pawn to g4 either for the same reason. Let's maybe try and gain a little space on the queen side. If he takes en passant, I'll take back with a pawn. I'll have to worry about the d-pawn a little bit, but at the moment he's not attacking it. Okay, and he leaves it closed. So we got a closed center. Oh, and he castled to the king side. So maybe bishop here to let the rook come over. Queen c1 and pawn to g4 maybe. Then I have a bishop to pawn to g5, and I have bishop g4, and I can play f6, and that might cause some consternation here amongst black camp. Yeah, so he decides to grab the knight and lock it all the way up. So what if I go if I go g6, pawn takes, and then bring the queen over to mate him, but it takes a few moves. Also, after g6 he could play h6, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, threatening mate. You can defend with the queen. Queen to e7 defends along that row. Okay, how about I rearrange my pieces a little bit and then take advantage of the open G file here, which he conveniently created for me. So rook to the G file, bishop to h6. This bishop on f3 controls the squares the knight might go to. I do want to lift my queen up so I can get a rook. I could play bishop h6 now, but it doesn't threaten anything. Okay, so queen here. So I can double on the h file, double on the g file. Yeah, so he might be working up for a sacrifice of some kind, or maybe he wants to launch a kingside space, queenside space, advance with b5. Or maybe he wants to sacrifice on one of these squares. No, he's just routing his knight over. Well, he's defending g7. Defending the knight. Okay, so the queen is rearranging. So I don't know if I can do much more. I can push the h-pawn, I guess. I can take the knight. I can play bishop here. So bishop here, he can't take it. If I take, knight takes, rook takes, rook takes, rook takes, queen takes. It doesn't really accomplish much. How about bishop takes knight? And he takes back with the knight. And bring the queen over here so I can play bishop to h5, hitting his rook, and then he takes with the knight. I take. Still don't see that I'm crashing through, but well, what I could do is push the pawn maybe. h4, h5, h6, and break through that way. And he's just going for a counterplay on the queen side. I don't see it. Oh, he can go after the d-pawn. My backwards d-pawn. I can defend with the bishop. Aha. So I have to move the queen away from there, right? Queen takes, pawn takes, there's no mate. Maybe rook g6. Yeah, I may have gotten a position which is completely blocked up. Huh? I should have gone to h4 and kept an eye on the knight. So rook here, queen here, and back to h4. It could have been an h4 already. Yeah, and he's going to threaten to invade there. Okay. Let's bring the queen back. I want to play bishop to e2 to defend the d-pawn if he gets there. Yeah, he's going to defend along the third rank, but now it's a little bit tricky. So right here, for example, if I could get my queen to yeah, it's just tough to break through. Okay, so rook takes, knight, he can take with the rook. And if I take the pawn, he can take with the king. I was thinking, pawn takes, and the queen comes down here to mate, but the knight's guarding that square anyway. Very annoying. Queen to g3 here threatens to take on g7. And he can bring a rook back and defend it. Nice, defending that way. That's interesting. So what are the ideas here? Yeah, as long as he can take with the rook on f6, I don't see a way of breaking through. He just needs to drop his rook back to... I guess I'm hitting the his e-pawn. That's the problem. So if he just plays rook to b7, defending g7, then I hit e5 here. So have I finally broken through his defenses? I don't know. It's just a pawn. He can grab my a pawn, but this is an important pawn. If I capture e5 here, then I can start pushing my pawns forward and chase his knight away. So, yeah, not the most convincing win. I surely had something better. He allowed him to lock it up, and I was left with a bad bishop. So I gave away my good bishop and ended up with a bad one. So certainly there were better ways to play that. But he's got to think here. Let's see, let's back up. He's been thinking for a minute and a half. Let's check, see if he's still connected. Okay, I'm connected. he's connected. Okay. Oh, he pins the queen. That's annoying. I can't avoid an exchange. The best I can do is trade. And maybe round up a pawn here, huh? Yeah, he can get a pawn too. Okay, but now I can push on with e5. That might be worth something. And I just have to be careful that his a-pawn, which in an endgame will become very dangerous, huh? Yeah, so he stops. He's just stopping everything. Okay, what can I do? I can get the bishop out of the way and then push the e-pawn, I guess. Put my rook to put my rook to e2, and then I'll be able to push the e-pawn. He can play there and blockade it, though. Yeah, he blockades on the dark squares. I can't really penetrate on the dark squares. Yeah, okay, let's get my king in over here to defend this pawn. Actually, I could bring my king to
check
f4 now that I'm thinking about it. That makes more sense than bringing it over here to defend the d-pawn. If I can ever get my pawns to move forward and liberate my bishop, I might have a game here. Oh, man. Okay, so attack the knight. I mean, attack the rook. I guess he didn't see that coming. The knight has no squares, forward squares. He has to go backwards. He can defend, yeah. Now I can play a move like this. I can either push the pawn forward or maybe bring the rook back to harass the knight. If I threaten to take the knight, he's going to have trouble holding his rook. Okay, so he retreated, so I cannot push just yet because he can just take it. What to do? Yeah, I want to defend the d pawn and double on the b file all at once. And it's hard to do both. Or defend the d pawn and put a rook on the e file. Right, that would also work. Knight goes there. Okay. Yeah, he's ganging up on the pawn. Man. Difficult situation. Maybe I should have pushed the pawn anyway, just sacrificed it. Okay, is that an idea here? Pawn to f6. Pawn takes. King comes forward. If he defends with the rook, I take the knight. And what else can he do? He can't take with a pawn because it's pinned now. So pawn forward. He could move his rook there, and I take the knight. So pawn forward, pawn takes, king forward, attacking the pawn. He can defend it with the knight. Knight back here, or knight forward to here. Knight back. Then what? Then nothing. Maybe I can do something with my other rook. I've got 2 pieces on this guy. Yeah, he can go there.
Black forfeits on time.
Okay, I just ran him out of time. Well, we can take a look at this postmortem and see if there was a way for white to break through. I don't know. Black was defending pretty tough. Okay, see you guys later. Bye.